Hello everybody, my name is Travis Williams and this is going to be the Jagershuis online training videos where I'm going to teach you the science, the methods, and the techniques that we use to train our dogs in our care. I've been waiting until I can get all my equipment. I'm getting better cameras, better webcams, better microphones, a whole bunch of really awesome equipment. But it's just taking too long to get everything organized, so I'm going to go ahead and start this training series, these videos, so that you can start understanding what we do, so you can start training on your own. So please excuse the quality of the video, and hopefully you'll understand the quality of the education that I'll be giving you. So the first thing we need to discuss is the science behind my training program. Too many people focus on technique only. They learn technique and they learn certain programs, but they don't understand the science behind what makes that program work. Then that trainer, if they just have a cookie cutter program, when they hit an obstacle, they don't have the knowledge and understanding of canine behavior and learning behavior to overcome that, and they get lost. This is why you see a lot of clicker trainers throw out the towel on dogs that clicker training doesn't work on. And it's the same reason why a lot of e-collar trainers throw out dogs that get too apprehensive to e-collar work. So if you understand the science about how you use everything to train, then you can understand how to fix these problems. So the first thing that we use in the science that we use in our program is classical conditioning. Now I ask you to forgive my handwriting, because A, I am a dude, and I am left-handed, so I get the worst of both worlds. But classical conditioning is the first thing that we use in our principles. Classical conditioning is the Ivan Pavlov thing where you hear in high school, in psychology high school, where you ring the bell and you feed the dog, and after a while the dog starts drooling when it hears the bell. It's the same thing. And I'll go into more depth in a separate video on each one of these. But the first thing we'll do is classical conditioning. The second thing we use is the 4 quadrants of operant conditioning. The 4 quadrants of operant conditioning was really made famous by B.F. Skinner, and this is also what a lot of people with autistic children use to mold behaviors and change behaviors as on top of behavior modification. So this is also what behavior analysts use for people with addictions and things of that nature. So operant conditioning is also a very important key factor in our dog training. The third science-based thing that we use is called the Premack principle. Now, Dr. Premack came up with this principle, but in human terms, it pretty much translates to we will do something we don't want to do to get a reward that we really want. But in our system, we kind of focus this on balancing the work the dog is doing. So the Premack principle in human terms is you may hate your job, but you will continue going to your job as long as that paycheck's good. But what happens if that stress at work, the angry boss, the job sucks, and you feel like the pay's not worth it anymore? What happens to your motivation? It goes down. So we use the Premack principle as well to balance that motivation. We find out what will motivate the dog enough to do the requirement that we're asking for. So this is very important, okay? Now, also, we have everything broken down into 3 phases. The first phase of training is the learning phase. And in this phase, we're going to be teaching the dog the positions and the basic work of what is expected. This is elementary school. In elementary school, they incorporate a little bit of training with a whole lot of fun. And that's why one of my mottos is learning is well attached to activity and emotion. When you are a child, they do a lot of teaching with songs and dancing and recess and all this, so kids learn subconsciously through all this fun that they're having. And then as they age, that recess time gets shorter. The fun times in training or in learning gets shorter. And then by the time you're in high school, then it's not a whole lot of fun, but it's a whole lot of learning. And then the second stage is understanding. Now, understanding is where we start putting the command on verbal cue. So in learning, they're just learning the positionings. In understanding, they're understanding what the command is. And then 3 is proofing. While we proof the dog, we want the dog to understand that it must do the command every time it's commanded. And it's kind of like when you're an adult and you have a child, and you say, go clean your room, and they keep playing. Then you go clean your room, they keep playing. And then you go make me count to 3, and they keep playing. You go 1, they keep playing, 2, they keep playing, and then finally right we go, they take off to the bedroom. Well, it's because you haven't proofed them properly to clean the bedroom on the first time. They're pushing those boundaries. And if you don't proof it and condition it properly, those boundaries are going to become the norm. So the science behind our program is classical conditioning, the 4 quadrants of operating conditioning, the pre-mag principle, and the 3 stages is learning, understanding, and proofing. Now, there's also 3 other principles that we use. The first principle is consistency. Consistency is the biggest downfall for dog trainers, especially people who are training their pet dog. They're not consistent in the way we engage with our dog. Dogs are huge generalizers. They call this building superstitious association with different things. So that's why you hear dogs are racist, they don't like black people, or dogs are scared of the vacuum cleaner, and all this. They develop these associations through generalization. From lack of socialization, so on and so forth. So the more consistent we are with our verbal commands, with our training program, with the socialization, with the engagement, the faster the dog will learn. The other one is the 3 Ds of dog training. The 3 Ds of dog training is duration, distraction, and distance. And you can interchange those in any order. But when you're all said and done, the dog can learn sit down and stay. But now, I hear a lot of the time, well, the dog only listens to me in the house. Well, the dog is generalized training in the house. You haven't worked the 3Ds, distractions and things. Or you hear them say, whenever we go outside to train, if a ball or a bird or a squirrel runs by, they break. Distractions. So the 3Ds is everything. A dog can know all, it can totally understand and prove everything that you have, but in the 3Ds, you have to make the dog do the commands for longer. You have to do the commands at longer distances. And then most importantly, you have to do them under all distractions. So this is the secret to dog training. And the last key thing is socialization, which also incorporates engagement. So I hear it all the time, my dog is really well trained, but he's not very social. So right here, this picture that we're looking at is pretty much everything that we incorporate in our dog training, and as I go along in these videos, I'll go into each one of these more and more, and then you'll see them applied in our training videos. So classical conditioning, 4 quadrants of operating conditioning, the pre-mag principle, learning, understanding, and proofing, consistency, the 3Ds of socialization. So make sure to write these down, and then we're going to go in and talk about every single one of these in more detail so you can fully understand what each thing means.